What's up, guys? This is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com. It is rivalry week, so we are back with another Michigan recruiting report. We're going to be breaking down 5 key in-state targets. Michigan's taking on Michigan State, so we're going to be talking about some local talent. Michigan State, not really a threat. I mean, they kind of suck, and they've been really bad on the recruiting trail, whereas Michigan has been great, coming off a top 10 class, number 11 this cycle. So we're going to be breaking down 5 key in-state targets. The state of Michigan is absolutely loaded next cycle. Before we do that, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, get notifications every time we drop new videos. As always, if you want even more Michigan recruiting information, head over to thewolverine.com today. Use the promo code UM1. $1 for 2 months over at thewolverine.com. All right, guys. So like I said, we're going to be breaking down 5 key in-state targets. Not really Michigan State recruiting battles. Like I said, Michigan State has really been laying an egg on the recruiting trail. So a lot of these guys, I think Michigan's in a really strong spot with, including top wide receiver Dakota War, a elite talent at a position of need. Michigan needs to land big-time talent in 2027 at wide receiver. You've seen the room struggle this year. Bryce Underwood needs weapons around him. He needs consistent, reliable pass catchers, which Dakota War is. He's very technically sound. He's a guy who, despite not having, elite track times, knows how to create separation, has really added some good bulk and weight to his frame. He can outmuscle pass catchers and defensive backs, and just it plays like a bigger physical pass catcher. He is a guy who is a very willing blocker as well, which is obviously important for a place like Michigan. So I think Dakota War checks a lot of boxes for what Michigan looks for and has traditionally looked for at the wide receiver position, but is just a better talent than what they've been able to land there. Dakota's already visited Michigan this fall. He plans to get back for another visit. He's been to Michigan more than any other school. He picked up an offer super early. He has ties to the university. His coach is Rod Oden, who's a Michigan alum. His cousin is Jacob Oden, who is a Michigan freshman. I think that all of that will really help. He's also close to Bryce Underwood. He grew up in the Sound Mind, Sound Body program, which Underwood was also a part of. So again, all of that will really help Michigan's chances. I think the biggest competitor for Dakota is probably Ohio State, who, the Buckeyes do a great job of recruiting wide receiver and always are able to sell a more pass-happy offense. But again, I think Michigan has done a fantastic job of recruiting Dakota, showing him what the offense is turning into, selling Bryce Underwood. And again, all those ties I think will really help Michigan here. So, and I think Michigan will be aggressive when it comes to the NIL space at the wide receiver position next cycle. So the Wolverines in that top group for Dakota War early on. All right, sticking on the offensive side of the ball, we're going to be talking about Anthony Cartwright, elite tight end out of the Detroit Metro. I had an opportunity to see Anthony Cartwright 2 years ago, and at that time, he was a really intriguing athlete. I didn't know if he was going to be a wide receiver or a tight end or an edge. He's really added some good weight to his frame, has put some good tape out there. He looks the part of an elite tight end. And when you look at Michigan's tight end board, there are a lot of names on it, but Anthony Cartwright has really blossomed into a top overall target. He recently visited. Michigan is a strong contender in this recruitment. And there's just a lot to like about Anthony Cartwright. Super, super athletic, just can be a difference maker. You can use him in a lot of different ways. It can create a lot of mismatches. And as he continues to grow into his body like he's done over the last couple of years, I think he'll grow more comfortable as an inline blocker too. But for me, Cartwright checks a lot of boxes. He's one of the more important in-state recruits in the 2027 class. And like I said, Michigan, a strong contender early on. He's visited Michigan plenty of times. He's part of the Sound Mind, Sound Body program as well. So Bryce Underwood is making a difference there too, as Michigan continues to open up the offense. I'm sure that'll be appealing. And obviously, Michigan already has a history of utilizing the tight end position, putting guys in the NFL like Colston Loveland. So all of that has to be really appealing to Cartwright. All right, let's head to the offensive line and talk about one of the biggest risers in the rankings, and that is Jakari Lipsey out of Kalamazoo. Was a guy who was just kind of really flying under the radar, but has really exploded on the ranking scene. You see, Rivals recently updated their 2027 rankings. He is a top 100 prospect, the number 99 overall recruit in the country. Michigan actually has the early lead on the Rivals recruiting prediction machine, and I would agree there. Michigan has done a fantastic job of selling its offensive line history. Sherrod Moore's involvement with continuing to coach the offensive line. They're making it a priority to keep him home. He's already visited this fall. So I think Michigan trending well here for Lipsey. I honestly have to watch more of his film, but he does project as more of a tackle at 6'5", 290, and that is a point of emphasis for Michigan. The Wolverines obviously have two interior offensive linemen already committed in Louis Esposito and Tristan Dare, so adding a tackle like Lipsey is a high priority, and he's, like I said, really intriguing, really athletic, a lot to like about his upside. He's not the only in-state offensive lineman that Michigan is recruiting. We're going to be talking about Jameer Henry out of Detroit King, who actually dropped in the rankings, but is a guy that Michigan has been on for a while. He was in the top 300, recently dropped to a 3-star, but I think there's a lot of upside with him as well. He actually started off ranked as a defensive lineman and eventually made the transition to offensive tackle. I think he's still developing and is a little bit raw, but there's a lot to like about his athleticism, his natural physicality, and he's been to Michigan on a number of occasions. The Wolverines have the lead on the Rivals recruiting prediction machine. Like I said, with Lipsey, I also agree here. I think Michigan does have the lead, or at least the inside track in this recruitment. So, Jameer Henry is not rated as high as the other guys on this list, but he is a prospect that the Michigan staff has been involved with and really, really likes. Let's go ahead and flip over to the defensive side of the ball and talk about Rivals 300 edge Ricardo Kitchen out of Muskegon. I really like Ricardo Kitchen. He's dropped in the rankings at one point. I think he was like a top 10 player nationally, and now Rivals dropped him to number 151 overall. I think that Kitchen still has that elite upside. He's 6'5", 240, has good length, plays with good physicality, is a guy who's still a little bit raw from a technical perspective, but once he puts it all together, I think the ceiling is super, super high with Kitchen, which I really value in edge prospects. If you have length, athleticism, and a high ceiling, I'm usually on board, and I am with Ricardo Kitchen. It would be nice to see him, he's a super quiet kid. He hasn't done any camps or anything like that. So it would be really nice to see him get on the camp circuit and perform against some other elite recruits this offseason. That could certainly boost his stock up again. But I think Kitchen is a prospect Michigan should go all in for at the edge position. And they have, and I put in a prediction last year, but our national analyst, Steve Wiltfong, recently joined me and kind of made it clear that Michigan is still a priority for Kitchen and vice versa. The Wolverines love him as well. So Michigan trending up in this recruitment, has that lead on the RPM, and I like my pick here for Ricardo. So those are 5 elite in-state recruits that Michigan is after, 5 key targets in Michigan's own backyard. There are plenty of others. This is the strongest recruiting class the state of Michigan has seen since 2021. That class, of course, featured guys like Damon Payne and Donovan Edwards and Rayshawn Benny. So 2027 is shaping up to be a special one in state. Is important for Michigan to keep its top talent at home. So again, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, and head over to thewolverine.com. It is rivalry week of Michigan State. Should be a fun one. So use that promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at thewolverine.com, where you can find exclusive insider recruiting information as well as everything you need on the team, plus a message board community of thousands and thousands of users. All right, guys, I will see y'all next week.